Welcome in everyone to the LARSONLAND podcast. I'm your host Sawyer Hill, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Dylan Bradshaw. If you're new to the show, we come on here every single week and talk about all things involving the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Young Money Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson kicked off his 2024 racing campaign this past weekend at the Vado Speedway Park for the Wild West Shootout. 2 nights of racing action, both Saturday night and Sunday night. The Rumley 6 car was out there on track. Dylan, you watched more of the race on Saturday. 15th to 5th effort kind of started the night off a little bit slow, but as the night went on, it seemed like Kyle kind of got in his groove, and the team changed some stuff up before the feature and really came out looking good Saturday night.
Yeah, he started off seventh quick in qualifying. I mean, he hasn't been in the late model since June of last year, so some expected rust. And then Larson, he said in an interview that, over time, Rumley has changed a lot of things with the car. So there's that. But started fourth place in Heat 4. He finished fourth, got that final transfer spot. And like you said, I mean, he gained a ton of spots. He was the hard charger of the night. But for the most part in the main event, it was pretty much Dillard, Alberson and Pierce kind of shaking it up there up front. Battles were good up front. I know a lot of people complained about the lack of attention of the rest of the field. We talked about that a little bit. It was a good battle up front, so I understand them showing it. But I said to you, it maybe would have been nice to see like some side by side, some split screen action, see the other drivers move up like Larson, who gained 9 spots to the race. But other than that, was pretty cut and dry. Wasn't as action packed, I guess, in comparison to last year's Vado. I don't know. I mean, as far as I remember Vado last year, it just seemed a little more racy. I don't know. I mean, night one really, did kind of was setting the tone for me how Vado is going to be this year. But night two, Larson he immediately followed up. He had a great night two. He qualified really quick, second in Group A, I believe. He won his heat race, and it's just starting off night two. I mean, it was just a Marlar, Pierce, and Larson battle. Pierce just dominating again. I mean, he was really good at Vado last year, so Marlar as well. Marlar and Larson had that really good battle last year, but he was a lot quicker night two. He looked good.
Yeah, and kind of speaking to the point of just the names out there on the track this week. We going into going into this event, I kind of looked at the entry list and picked out Marlar, Pierce, and Larson, kind of the top three guys that I thought that really could have they're going to be the guys that are going to be battling for the lead each and every night in the event. But night one, Cade Dillard picking up the win, kind of a surprise there. Like we've seen him have flashes of being really good, but I was surprised to see him in victory lane. And also, he was running double duty. He was out there in the modified too, picking up 2 wins on the same night. So kind of a cool deal there for Cade Dillard. But night two, Bobby Pierce prevailed and picked up the win. And honestly, he was really close to doing it on night one too over Dillard. So Pierce is the car to beat for sure going into the rest of the week. Larson, we had it on our schedule thing that Larson was going to be there on Wednesday night. Flow Racing, their preview show for Vado, they kind of said that they didn't think Kyle was going to be there. Since then, we've gotten some information that that he is expected to be there. We're not 100% confident in that. It seems like it's really back and forth right now for this Wednesday show, but we do expect him to be there the final 3 nights of action: Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night next weekend.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see you actually mentioned to me Davenport not being there. I mean, Davenport dominated Vado last year.
Right.
What was it? He won 3 straight in a row. So,
Yeah, I think he
um,
started off winning. What was it? He
yeah,
won the first three, so that big. So there's the bonus for the if you win all six, it's $300,000. So for him to do that last year, I was surprised not to see him back again.
yeah. I mean, I think that was the race that everyone called was race of the year. Was that the Davenport Larson one? Or was that with the Marlar Larson one? I
That was
can't
the
remember.
Pearson Larson one at the. I think that
Okay,
was
okay.
the very last night last year. Pierce took the win in that one, but I think it was Pierce, Larson, Davenport. They were all up there duking it out for the win. But yeah, super surprised to not see Davenport there. Maybe he's just, I don't know what his plans are for the 2024 season, if he's running another full season with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. But if he is, I imagine, a guy like him, he's got a family. He probably wants to take some more of this time off to get ready and recharge for the long haul this year. I mean, it's a tough, demanding schedule out there on the road, and for a guy like him, he's really good. It's definitely probably takes a toll. So and the late model off season really never ends. I mean, they wrap up at the Dome in December, and then they're right back at it at Vado the first week of January. So it's a brutal schedule. So maybe a little bit of that playing a factor.
Yeah, I mean, just racing in general, just like this off season, it just seems like it flew by. I mean, I feel like I was just watching the NASCAR championship like last month, so really not a lot of time off. As we know, Larson really doesn't take a lot of time off. He kind of takes like a month off, and that's pretty much it. So it's good to see him back in this late model. Hopefully he can pick up that Vada win. That was part of why he said he came back. Not only the great racing last year, but he really wants to get a win. I know he's very persistent on getting, probably just has like a chart at home, just like a bingo of every single track in America that he just wants to win. But he needs to get Votto. But yeah, I mean Pierce, he's going to be tough to beat. He's, like we just said, he's quick to both nights, so that's really going to be a hard car to beat. And Pierce and Larson, they just he touched on a little bit of Larson in his interview before Votto night one. They race really similar, like on track. They're very technical. They're very calculated with what they do, and they kind of race a little different from the rest of the field. And it's interesting to see them go head to head for sure.
Yeah, and funny you kind of point that out because I was getting ready to say the same exact thing. Like talking to, I think it was D Suave on the Flow Racing preview show, or maybe it was with Larson talking on there, but saying how they do race so similarly that D Suave's kind of calling it like a little bit of a rivalry between Pierce and Larson, even though they only get to race against each other like a couple times a year with just very different schedules. But I think it's like when guys are like that similar in terms of their like racecraft and style, they're gonna come together. There's gonna be points where they're just putting on amazing races. Like I hopefully we're gonna see the rest of the week at Vado. Brandon Shepard is going to pick up the last 3 nights at Vado, so going to be interesting to see another big time name come in there into the pool of drivers for the final 3 nights. He's definitely going to be a competitive one. And then for me, my kind of sleeper pick to win one is Turbo. I think last year Turbo looked awful at Vado. He really didn't do anything. He opened up his season and had a rough season last year, but I think he's off to a good start. He seemed like he's been up front with the other guys, just knocking on the door of that level of like Marlar, Pierce, and Larson the past 2 nights. So I look for him to kind of have a good night here, one of these last four.
Yeah, what do you think about the track? I mean, as far as I can remember last year, the track, it seemed racier. I mean, it didn't seem like it was holding a ton of rubber. I know last night at least the track looked super slick, holding a ton of rubber. I mean, you could see like the guys' cars reflecting off the surface with the light. So, I mean, what do you think? I know as far as I remember last year, it was a little bit different of a surface.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think last night was a little bit better than the first night in terms of just how the quality of the race was. But I mean, last night too, you got to think like the track crew was tasked with a pretty tall order to get that track in racing condition throughout the entire night because of just the weather conditions that they were faced with there at Vado. They started off the night with like 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, and it was like a dust storm out there. You like I remember the first night I think it was Kyle McFadden posted on from Flow Racing. He posted on Twitter that like the first night it was a side by side of like the first night and then the second night from the stands what it looked like. And like the first night you could see like the mountains off into the distance, and then the second night it's just like so much dust that you can't see anything like in the distance. And so it's like they were definitely challenged with that. The wind definitely dried the track out, and they reworked it completely before the feature. I know people are still complaining about it, but I mean, there's really only so much the track prep crew can do to get the track in racing condition. And I think with what they had to overcome, they did a good job. But I'm definitely looking for it looks like the weather conditions are going to be better over the next week. So for the Wednesday show and then for the upcoming weekend events, I think it's going to be a lot better and hopefully a little bit more moisture in the track.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't sure on the forecast, but I think it was about an hour or so ago. Jacqueline Rumley tweeted there's actually snow flurries at the track. They had the car outside the track and it was snowing. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if like the I wasn't sure the forecast or not what it's looking like.
Yeah, I know it snowed a little bit after the races last night. So like last night, once everything wrapped up, like that's what they were kind of rushing the show a little bit along last night because there was a threat of snow and rain after the features, and it did there were some flurries and stuff after the race. So I guess you get it all out there when you're in New Mexico. I didn't know it snowed and all that out there, but it's pretty cool. I was actually looking at going to Vado, just a last minute deal, and I was looking at the weather forecast thinking it was going to be like a warmer event out there, but dude, it looks cold, and I was like, I'm gonna stay home and watch on Flow. So was happy with that decision. We're looking forward to the next week of racing for Kyle. Hopefully he does run the Wednesday show, but like I said, not 100% there. But going to be good racing nonetheless, and you can definitely catch it all on Flow Racing.
Yeah, hopefully races Wednesday, just another opportunity to pick up the win at Vado. Definitely good racing for sure. So excited to see it, and we'll be sure to post it on social media, of course. If he's racing Wednesday, you'll see a race day post on all social media platforms, unless Twitter decides to not post the race day again. But like you said, we didn't post a race day the first night because Twitter always wants to have an issue, but be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have all the updates regarding the rest of the Wild West Shootout at the Vado Speedway Park, and keeping our eye on any other upcoming events for Kyle Larson on dirt before the NASCAR season kicks off. Nothing right now 100% confirmed. We do expect him to be at Golden Isle for the High Limit and Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series doubleheader in February. Of course, that comes after the start of the NASCAR season. That is actually Atlanta weekend. So that's a good chance to if they're in that area to go check out some racing and really good bang for your buck too. Seeing High Limit and Lucas Oil on the same night. Besides that, Dylan, I don't know if you had anything else for tonight's show, but I think that should pretty much wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean that should pretty much be it. Touching on that race, we'll both hopefully be there at that Golden Hours race.
Yep.
The week after the Daytona 500, also hoping to go to that. So I don't get to see a lot of dirt racing. Haven't been to a high limit yet, so I'm really excited to see that. It's such a good track at Golden Hours. You always speak highly of it. So excited to go see that track and what it's about.
And also too for Golden Isles, super pumped to have our I want to call him the official photographer of Larson Land there. Cody Wansley. I mean, he's a great photographer. I met him in Golden Isle last year, and he took a lot of great pictures that we've used on our race days and results and stuff throughout the year. So huge tip of the hat to him, and we're looking forward to linking back up down there in Waynesville, Georgia. So we appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to today's show. We'll be back again next week to recap the rest of the Wild West Shootout at the Vado Speedway Park, and hopefully maybe have some more like Larson news or something, maybe some more upcoming races. But if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please don't forget to follow our podcast so you don't miss a thing. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and we will see you in the next episode.